Hey, Storm fans. I know you're probably sick of Chatterstorm and Pauper. I'll be honest, I'm a little sick of playing it myself. It feels bad playing a deck that I know is going to get banned. Instead, today I'm recording with Pauper Cycling Storm, a deck that I have a lot of experience playing, and an idea I've had tucked in my pocket for a while now. So, this version of Cycle Storm has opted to run 0 copies of Basic Swamp, no copies of Dark Ritual. I'll say that one more time. No copies of Dark Ritual. All right, so it's a part of a greater plan that I'm about to explain, and there are no copies of Lotus Petal, which means that this list is super cheap. Pauper is supposed to be a budget format, but this version might actually be better as the budget option. That's what I'm here to find out today. So instead of Lotus Petal, we're playing Manamorphose, and it's a part of a greater thesis that I've had, which is when I'm playing Pauper Cycle Storm, sometimes I fizzle because I draw too many rituals. Well, Manamorphose is essentially a Lotus Petal in the deck that draws a card. Because all we really care about from Lotus Petal is Storm and mana fixing, and that's what Manamorphose does. So, it's a beautiful thing. Except, Morphos comes with this draw card tacked on, which helps us fizzle less. So, if we're playing red for Manamorphose, we need to be able to support it. So we're playing Geothermal Crevice in the main deck instead of the sideboard where it normally lives. And part of the beauty of Geothermal Crevice is that it is a color fixer. So you do get the red for your Rite of Flames and your Manamorphose. But if you sacrifice it, you can use the green mana to cast Manamorphose as well, which is pretty sweet. Don't forget, this is a hybrid card. In post-board games, it casts Pyroblast, Flaring Pain, Shredded Sails, and even Weather the Storm, which is just beautiful. Um, yeah. So I mentioned no copies of Dark Ritual. That's because we're running Rite of Flame. Dark Ritual is the worst ritual in Cycle Storm. All right, we're gonna do the repeating thing again. Dark Ritual is the worst ritual in Cycle Storm. I've said it twice now. So that's because you cast it and you get 2 cycles out of it before you're back to empty, and it's a feel bad. So instead, we're running Rite of Flame. And the thought process here is that when you win with Cycle Storm, you're drawing most of your deck. In fact, you're sometimes you draw all of your deck all in a single turn, which means that by the third copy of Rite of Flame, it's a break even with Dark Ritual, and the fourth copy of Rite of Flame is even better. So we're playing the long game here because you have to make red mana anyway to win with Granite Stinger. So if this deck already needs red mana to win, why are we not running the card that helps us as we're progressing? Like, it makes sense to me to run Rite of Flame. Uh, and it's very similar to Cabal Ritual in the fact that it gets better with how you theme your deck. So I want to try this list. This is probably one of the cheaper decks I've ran on this channel. I haven't submitted it to Goldfish yet. I don't know how cheap it is, but if I had to guess, this is less than 20 tickets. I mean, off the top of my head, nothing in this deck is too expensive. Um, yeah, so this is as budget friendly as we get. Um, we're still running the 2 copies of Tolarian Winds and Mystical Teachings. I think I'm probably still the only person doing this. When I check out other lists on Goldfish, it seems like people are non believers in Mystical Teachings and Tolarian Winds. I don't know why. That said, Manamorphose helps us cast more blue spells. Because of the fact that we can add blue blue, it becomes a lot easier, which I'm looking forward to do. Because we can do more tricks with Tolarian Winds and Mystical Teachings when we're not worried about straining our Lotus Petals too much. Because with Manamorphose, we can always fix our mana later. So I think Manamorphose is actually going to open up quite a bit of deck building space here and play space as well. So this came at a cost. We lost our 25th cycler, Architect of Will, RIP. Rest in peace. Part of the reason why is that with Rite of Flame in the deck, we can't afford to have a cycler in the deck that doesn't cycle well. You might be thinking, Bryant, Horror of the Broken Lands, you can't cycle that off Rite of Flame. You are correct. I cannot do that. That said, Horror of the Broken Lands is a win condition. Sometimes you just cast it and win. Sometimes you exhume it back. This is one of the best cyclers in the deck. We're not cutting it. So I understand there's a natural friction between Rite of Flame and Horror of the Broken Lands. We're going to live with that. I think that this card is so good we can, deal with it not being optimal here. Everything else in the deck can cycle with either red or black, and that's not an accident. That's intentional. Um, Yeah, so that covers the main deck. Oh, we gained the. I'm sorry, that Architect of Will slot became the 12th land. So we are running 12 lands, which is something I've actually learned to like from playing Chatterstorm. And that's, extra lands against these control matchups really does help. So we're going to be a hair slower, but we're going to be more consistent. And especially with Manamorphose and then these blue cards adding consistency, I think we can afford an extra land. Um, yeah, so that's what I have there. 4 copies of Dress on the board. This is mostly for the combo mirror. I'm expecting to lose in this league to Chatterstorm. We're not favored against that deck whatsoever, but I want to play this deck today. I just don't feel like playing Chatterstorm, so I'm going to play my favorite Pauper deck instead. And Dress is mostly for... Well, we played Dress in previous lists, but the 4th copy of Dress is for that matchup. And that's why we went down to 2 Pyroblast. Blue-Black Fairies is really popular, but Dress has overlap there, so that 4th Dress stole the 3rd Pyroblast slot. Exhume is to play around Graveyard Hate, but that's pretty self-explanatory. Flaring Pain deals with Prismatic Strands. There we go. Shredded Sails, for Relic of Progenitus, but also Affinity, one of the more popular decks in the format. And then I'm excited for this today. We are playing Dihada's, hopefully I said that correctly, Ploy. And this is an interesting card. So it reads, for those of you unfamiliar, maybe you can't see the screen, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. You gain life equal to the number of cards you've discarded this turn. That works really, really well with cycling. One of the issues that I've had against decks like Burn or really other aggressive strategies in the format is you want to board out Street Wraith, but then you board in like Weather the Storm. And when you do that, you have less action in your deck and your fizzle rate actually goes up. Ploy is that nice middle ground. It's not a hammer. It's more, just the right tool sometimes. Sorry, I don't have a great analogy there. But it does a little bit of both. So you're going to stay flexible. You're going to be able to gain some life, but also keep comboing. And it also has Jumpstart, so you can essentially flash it back. Yeah, but we still have 2 copies of Weather because sometimes you do need that hammer just to make sure you stay alive. So we're running a split between the Ploy and Weather the Storm. I'm interested to see how it goes today. I think that is the only card that we can play for Modern Horizons 2 in this deck. There is Echoing Return, which is 1 black. Return target creature to your hand and all creatures that share the same name. So you could, in theory, return 4 copies of Street Wraith and cycle 4 more times for 1 black. I don't think that's a realistic ask. I think that card's not powerful enough. I'm sorry, it's just my opinion. And I've had a number of you message on other videos. Bryant, record a Pauper Cycling Storm video with Galvanic Relay. I'm going to ask you to read Cycling and then read Galvanic Relay again and figure out why that's not in this deck. I'll give you a hint. It doesn't work. And I would love it to work because I think Relay is a super sweet card. I plan on recording another Pauper another Pauper Storm deck with Relay in it that isn't Chatterstorm. Maybe next week. Maybe I'll have time to figure out a deck list by then. I don't have time to do it tonight. So instead, we're playing my favorite Pauper deck, Cycling Storm, and that's my spiel. I feel like I've gone on long enough. And if you want to support this content, please subscribe. Please, 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 please. The button's down below. Support this content. I am just short of hitting 4,000 subscribers this month. We have, 4 days this month left to do it. I'd love to do that. So, yeah. I mean, I only need like 50 people. I think I'll probably hit it without your support, but you should do it anyway. I'd greatly appreciate that. Yeah. And if you're already subscribed, like and comment. It's a great way of getting us back into that YouTube algorithm to show more people the greatness of Cycling Storm. All right. A couple more things, then we can start. If you want to support this content, you can go to theepicstorm.com/shop. There you can get your mini token pack to keep track of your storm and mana. You can also submit a donation deck to see your Pauper deck featured here on this channel. It has to be a combo deck. Keep that in mind. All right. I've talked long enough. Let's hop into round number 1 and let's cycle together. Let's cycle Storm together. Right now, round number 1, we're facing End Magus, and we are on the play. This hand seems pretty good to me. Keep. We're going to lead off on Geothermal Crevice. And then pass the turn. Alright. Okay, we're playing the mirror. We are facing Chatterstorm. We are not favored at all. Unfortunately. I have a feeling we're just going to get crushed this league, but I wanted to play this deck. I think I'm just going to cycle Adraneth Healer or Stinger on their end step. Our hand's good too. I just don't think we're fast enough to beat this deck in the mirror. They probably think they're playing the mirror, but that is not the case. Alright, so they've resolved Knight's Whisper. Now they're in the tank. I mean, I think best case scenario would be for us is if they... Okay, well, they're passing without a land drop. That's good. Is if they like went for like 8 squirrels and then we got them. Alright, so our Rite of Flame just got bigger. And I think I'm just going to cycle here looking for land number 3 and we hit it. So I think probably next turn I'm going to try to jam. We're really like a turn 4 deck. But their Rite of Flame just helped us out, so big fan of that. Dark Ritual. Sign in Blood. Come on, fizzle. No! Another Dark Ret. I don't like this. Alright, so Chromatic Sphere is being activated here. They're probably going to add red for Rite of Flame. Yep. Jeez. Let me untap. Looks like they have it. They might just like need a green source or something. Really needed them to fizzle. We weren't able to go for it last turn, unfortunately. Like I said, we're just slower than the Chatterstorm deck. Yeah. I think they probably discard like Songs of the Damned or Tolarian Winds here. They put double on top with their Introduction to Prophecy, so they just had it. Come on, quit showboating and just kill me. There we go. So we're going to board in 4 copies of Duress, and hopefully that will buy us enough time in these post-board games. I think we likely have to get rid of the blue cards. They're just a little bit slow, and we're going to need to be a little bit more disruptive. So that's how I'm going to recommend boarding. You could board in Weather. I don't think that's really what the matchup is about. You have to keep mana open, and like both decks have Duress post board, so I just don't think that's really where you want to be. In my opinion, at least. Sure, we can try this. So I'm going to lead on cycling Street Wraith here, because if we draw Duress there, that would have influenced my decision on what to play. So I think I'm going to play Crevice. And it's going to stink if we draw Duress for turn, but Crevice is usually the land you want to play first. That was a good pickup. I just don't think we're going to be able to go for it on turn 3. We don't have the resources. But we'll find out, I guess. Alright, Manamorphose. Am I dead on turn 2? They have their own Duress. Reaping the Graves is a pretty easy selection here for the opponent. Yep. Okay. So that hurt, especially when we take teachings out of the deck. Does not feel good. Let's see what we can draw into here. Cycle. No winning this turn. There's no way I was supposed to like Rite of Flame cycle there. That's just not correct. Because, look, one, we're not likely to hit. I mean, we did, but we're not likely. And if we just burn Rite of Flame, that's giving our opponent a mana for their Rite of Flames. It just doesn't make sense. But I have a feeling that we're probably dead now. If we get to untap, I'm definitely going for it. I just don't think we're going to get to. Alright, opponent casting spells. Yeah, they're just going wild here. Alright, Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual, land. What is this? Oh my, we're going to get to win. Nice. Let's go! Alright, so we can sacrifice this. And that is the 7th card in the graveyard. And now we Manamorphose. Let's add black-red. Rite of Flame, Rite of Flame. Cycle. Wow. How many creatures do we have in the graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I didn't need to count that. It's on Songs of the Damned. I'm gonna save those other songs. And you might be saying, like, Bryant, why aren't you like doing cycling tricks with these? I don't need to at this point. It's just not necessary. I have enough mana to just cycle these at my will and not overextend in case we fizzle. Use a red here. Duress is not a great draw. There's another one. Jeez, we're gonna fizzle. Ugh. I could feel it. This feels really bad. What were there, 6? Jeez. Yeah, we just have to pass. That hurt. So our opponent gets to play all 6 cards off of their relay this turn. We are likely not dead this turn, but they do get to double duress us, which means we're likely down the 2 copies of Songs of the Damned, and then we only have 1 left in our deck to win with. And then our duress will not likely be effective because they'll be empty-handed due to the relays. So we're in a tough spot here. Okay. Now they just play Chromatic Star and Relay. So they're going to tap the Sandstone Needle, sacrifice the Vent, and Chromatic Star into Relay. They're thinking about how to cast it. I wonder if they're going to draw a card with... Oh, no, they didn't. They could have drawn a card with Star. So if they draw a spell off of Star, it is another card for Relay. Because right now this Relay is only for 5. But I mean, 5 cards is still 5 cards. There you go. I mean, that's a pretty good 5. Ooh. Where were you last turn? Come on. So I think what I'm going to do is just pass and hope that I don't die. I guess I could duress them here. They do have 1 card in hand. My problem with duressing them is that I want to Reaping the Graves on their turn. Like, hope that I don't die. Reaping the Graves back my graveyard and try to win next turn. So I'm taking a chance here. I mean, it's entirely possible that I die, but I think what I want to do is just, like, let them cast spells so that I can Reaping the Graves back my graveyard. Lotus Petal. 3 Songs of the Damned down, too. It's going to be so difficult. Yeah. They're probably wondering why I didn't duress them last turn and what that means. Because they know that I have triple duress, like why wouldn't I cast one? So they probably have that in the back of their head. Turns out the answer is Reaping the Graves. They're going all in, so they must have hit the Chatterstorm. Or they're just looking to hit Chatterstorm off of Introduction. Yep, they got Introduction. Come on, have all the Chatterstorms just be on the bottom of your library. They kept 1 card. They're casting spells, so they likely have it or are very close. They have another Introduction on their board. Did they discard? Yeah, they looted. Please do. Was really hoping that it was another relay. Instead, we're just dead. Sort of a tough round. We just didn't. We couldn't do anything. If we had not have sideboarded, we probably would have won game 2. But we're supposed to board Indras. It just didn't work out. I was expecting to lose this matchup. It's fine. Let's see if we can just win some others. Round number 2. Let's see if we can get this one. We're on the draw. We do have a little bit of an oddity with this hand. We have Geothermal Crevice as our land, and then we have Horror of the Broken Lands. Broken is a good adjective for this combination. I cannot cycle Horror off of Geothermal Crevice without sacrificing it. That said, we do have Imposing Vantasaur, which I can cycle to look for that second land. Alright, picked up another copy of Crevice. We're just going to pass the turn. Okay. So we're likely facing Jund here. It could have been Tron, but I think if they were on Tron, they probably would have named blue with the Grove. So I'm going to guess that this is a Jund variant. The Forest would also back that up. Slivers. Okay. Not what I was expecting, but sure. Another Horror. A little bit awkward. I actually should have cycled before playing my land in case I drew a black source that I could have played. It just would have been better that way. And the slivers are coming down. Alright, Predatory Sliver is just another Muscle Sliver. We're going to be taking 3 here and then next turn 9. So we're going to need to try to combo out sooner rather than later. Let's see if we can draw a land here. Another Horror! Ugh! Talk about getting punished. I don't know what to do here. I mean, I could cycle Horror. Let's try. Let's see if I can hit a different land or another cycler. Alright. So, we have... I'm trying to figure out what I can do here. So if I sacrifice this land, it's 5 cards to the graveyard. We can Manamorphose into Rite of Flame into Cabal Ritual. Yeah, I think we're just going for it. Should I add blue? Why not? That was a good pickup. We're going places. Let's go. Cycle off the red here. Like the Cabal Ritual draw. Cycle. Okay. This seems pretty good. Try to go a little bit deeper. Come on, Barrenmore. Alright. Trying to just get every little bit of juice I can out of this songs. Okay. So I think I'm going to Teachings here for another songs. Maybe I should cycle a little bit. Alright, we're just going to keep on cycling over and over. Alright. So now we've hit that roadblock. I'm going to go get another songs. Increases that storm count just a little bit as well. 32 cards left in the deck. Alright. So here we will be doing the cycling tricks. So we want to target all the street wraiths first. Alright, so it's always best to cycle when you're in situations like this until you can't anymore. So in case you hit the Songs of the Damned, you can cast it with the stock graveyard. So we hit, we're going to cycle. It's free to cast this. Cycle. I'm going to hang on to this for a little bit. Okay. Going deeper into our deck. Pretty cool turn 3 combo we have going on here. We still have that Mystical Teachings in the graveyard just hanging out as well. So let's not forget about that. Probably should have used the black mana on that, just because if we find songs, we're going to have infinite black mana. Another Teachings. So we're going to add some blue mana here. I added 2 blue in case we hit the Tolarian winds because we haven't found one yet. And we have a bunch of dead lands. I think I'm actually going to add red here. There we go. I think if I actually cast this, I'm going to deck. So let's get songs. And then let's cast Reaping the Graves. I'm actually going to do this backwards. I'm going to Reaping the Graves, and then with all of them on the stack, I'm going to Winds, which is not the way that we normally do this, but it doesn't matter. I just want to change these lands into cards that have text on them. Alright, and now we don't need to do any cycling tricks. Don't know if I want the street rates. No, we're just targeting. I guess I can return 1 street wraith. So all those are on the stack. Let's cast Tolarian Winds. Convert those into real cards. And just click OK. We still have 1 Rite of Flame in the deck, which is kind of nice. Because we can use that to cast more copies of Draneth's Stinger. So I'm going to start out on 1 copy of Stinger, because it's pretty free to do so. Gonna auto yield to this. I don't want to auto yield to the draw because I don't want to accidentally deck myself. Alright, so we still have 6 cards in there. And there's the last Rite of Flame. So now we can cast our Stingers pretty freely without fear. And it looks like we still have a Stinger in the deck. And I think we'll actually kill the opponent before we deck ourselves, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Math is for losers. Who would want to count, right? That's how Magic the Gathering goes. You would never want to, do something that takes 1 minute instead when you can just find out the hard way. Alright, so it looks like we get there. Turn 3. It's not bad. I don't think I'm going to board. I don't think this is a matchup where we really need to side out the street rates for the Weather the Storm or Ploys. We're just going to try to do what we do best, and that's Cycle Storm. I think this Rite of Flame configuration paired with Manamorphose actually has a lot of potential instead of running the Lotus Petals and Dark Rituals. It does have some awkwardness like we saw in this particular game where we had to sacrifice the Geothermal Crevice to be able to cycle, but overall I think it does make our deck better. Being able to Morphos for blue is pretty strong. Okay, let's go, Slivers. Our opponent's taking a mulligan. Death and Taxes. Still Slivers. Alright. So we're going to play our Steam Vent, or Sulfur Vent, I'm sorry, and just pass the turn here. Next turn we'll play another Sulfur Vent and cycle. Okay. Is there a... Yeah, there is. I was going to say, is there a white Muscle Sliver? And then I immediately remembered Sinew before they played it. They chose not to attack. I'll take that. I'm just going to be lazy and I'm going to cycle on my main phase here. Because I can. Alright, another Sulfur Vent. I don't think we're going to need to combo on turn 3 this game. So I think instead we're just going to play Sulfur Vent and pass, maybe cycle this Baron more and the Carabit or the Stinger. So they're probably filtering for a green here to play Muscle and then get in there for 6. The Birds of Paradise Sliver, okay. Virulent Sliver, I know that one well. That used to be the win condition in Vintage Flash Hulk. I am old, let me tell you. Yeah, I'm just going to cycle. We need some more rituals, though. That was a good draw. What I like about the Morphos, too, is that they're free storm for Reaping the Graves, much like Lotus Petal, but the fact that they draw a card which allows you to draw into more rituals is just beautiful. Okay, so here they're swinging for 15. And we're going to go to 5, which it's going to shut down multiple copies of Street Wraith, but that's fine. And we're gaining 5 poison. If they ever make an infect sliver, that's going to be very scary. Alright, going to 3. Let's go. We're going to need to make some black mana with these Manamorphose. That was a good one. Not a whole lot of creatures in the graveyard yet. Black, red. Okay, so it's free to cycle this. Maybe we'll cycle for red here. The other teachings. So I think what we're supposed to do here is we're going to do the actual Tolarian Winds trick. And now we're going to Reaping the Graves. And see if we can get a little bit lucky. I don't think I'm going to cycle at all here. So normally you could like cycle Street Wraith or something, but because we're at 3, I don't think it's worth it. And we're just going to convert all of this into action. And we can always flashback these teachings. Alright, so we hit another songs. That's pretty good. Rite of Flame looking great. Here's just red Dark Ritual. Let's cycle a little bit before we keep going. Like to, yes, that Rite of Flame now better than Dark Ritual. That's why we're playing it right there. And we're just going to keep cycling creatures and then play songs. Alright, so it's pretty free for me to cycle that. Love the Cabal Ritual Rip. And now I can cycle these off black mana. I'm trying to keep some red and some blue floating. Trying to get the most out of this songs that I can. And you might be thinking, Bryant, you could have played Stinger. I'm aware. I didn't miss that. I just don't think we need to play that effect yet. Like, we're not at the point in the game where it matters, where we can play a giant Reaping the Graves and win. We always had access to it due to these mystical teachings, so that's why I haven't used it up until this point. Wow. Alright, so I'm going to flashback teachings and go get the last songs. Just trying to increase Storm here. 19 cards left in deck. Let's start from the bottom, why not? And this is a turn 4 win. So it turns out we can beat decks that aren't Chatterstorm. Good to know. The Rite of Flame looked pretty good here with the third one, making a bunch of mana. I like that. That was fun. Manamorphose was also pretty good, in my opinion. Now that I'm playing Twiddlestorm in Modern, maybe this deck is where my Japanese Foil Manamorphose can live. Once again, I'm going to auto-yield to these. And actually, we have 19 cards in deck. I'm going to auto-yield to that as well. Just triggers. Shotguns at this point. Hey, we got the win. 1-1. Okay, we're on the draw for round number 3. And this hand seems pretty good. We do have the Barrenmore, which does not cast Rite of Flame. That said, we have a Cycler. I think this hand's actually fine. I'm going to keep this. Okay. So we're facing Fairies of Delver. It's all the same. Sulfur Vent was a good draw there. Okay. I said it again. Sulfur Vent. No, I think I actually would have said that one correctly. I'd have to rewatch. But I said Sulfur. Delver did not flip. Okay. Running lands is not bad. Lands are, pretty good draws when you're trying to beat Delver. This is a rare. How can you play this? Should not be allowed. Okay. Does Delver flip this time? And it does. Revealing Skred. So our opponent has a Skred in hand. Delver getting in there. We're going to fall to 16 life. And no land drop now. So we're going to cycle this. We're just looking for more cyclers. I don't know if I want to play these Barrenmores or just cycle them. Alright, well, that's a good draw. So let's see if we can hit another cycler off this. We did. So I'm likely going to play one of these Barrenmores now, unless we draw a land here. Okay. So now we just pass. Getting in there with the spell stutter. So that's sort of an interesting play because they could be considering Nijitsuing the Sprite here, and they didn't. So that was a line they had available and chose not to. It's interesting to think about. They likely have another spell stutter somewhere in their hand. I think I'm just going to cycle this. I don't feel pressured to go off here. Morphose is fine. I think I'm just going to play the Barrymore rather than cycling it because we'd have to discard next turn, or this turn, and I just don't think that's worth it. Alright, so as of right now, we're fine. Like, our opponent can't kill us. They're likely holding up another spell stutter. Yep. Easy read. So they have 5 cards. We know one of them is a Scred. Okay. So 4 cards, we know one of them is a Scred. Taking 5 here puts us to 7. We could, in theory, be dead to like end step spell stutter and then Nijitsu. Just throwing that out there. Let's see what we can do here. This is a juicy target for the opponent, and they chose not to counter. Let's cycle this. Okay. It feels like it's freezing a little. Another Songs was a good pickup. So let's see if we can resolve this. They could have like counter target spell and like dispel. That would be really bad for us here. That would actually stop us cold. And looks like it's all resolving. I should have cast Morphose in between those. That was a small mistake there. Yeah, that was just a dumb mistake. Okay, well that was not a good draw. So I think here we're supposed to cast Teachings. See if we can get Reaping the Graves. Alright, so now what we're going to do is Tolarian Winds and then put Reaping the Graves on the stack. So they're going to want to counter Tolarian Winds. Okay, we'll just go back up, target a few more creatures. I feel like our opponent might have one counter spell and they're just deciding what they want to use it on. Opponent thinking here if Tolarian Winds is the card they want. And you might be going, Bryant, you're supposed to be cycling. I don't want to do that. I want to see if this Tolarian Winds resolves. Like, mana is going to be the bottleneck this turn. If we can just convert these into cards for free using Winds, why would I ever cycle? And they chose to counterspell here. Okay. They're at 20. So this is an interesting spot. So we can let that resolve. I can play Dranith Stingers and then try to cycle. We could cycle 4 times, so that's 8 damage, which isn't enough. So the only way I could keep winning is if we like cycled into a Cabal Ritual. So I think I'm actually just going to cycle first because mana is the bottleneck. And if we hit Rite of Flame, I want to be able to cast it, and if I cast the Stingers, I can't do that. So I'm going to just cycle here, see if we can hit some mana. No luck yet. Another Reaping the Graves. I mean, would have been fine if we had more mana. Coming up a little bit short. Can't cycle that or else we're dead. Yeah, we just missed. There's Rite of Flame. Okay. I think I just discard the land. Or would it be better to discard Street Wraith because I'm not going to be able to cycle it next turn anyway? And then if we hit a Songs, yeah, I'm going to do that. So we're going to go to 2 here. And then we need our opponent not to have any interaction. Alright, well now they have a red source, so if Lightning Bolt was one of their cards, we're just dead. Which would make a lot of sense. So they have 2 unknowns currently. And now here we get... Ooh, so they have Spell Stutter. That's also insanely good. Because now we have to be able to beat a Spell Stutter sprite. Hurts. Yeah, I just don't know how we're supposed to win this. Here, Rite of Flame is definitely better than a Dark Ritual, though. This makes 4 mana. They let it go. It's pretty risky. We need to find songs. Trying to figure out what I should do here. I'm wondering if I Tolarian Winds, if they'll counter. And then if they counter, I can play Cabal Ritual, cycle this, and pray to hit songs into Reaping the Graves, which isn't out. I feel like if I lead on Cabal Ritual, we're just flat out dead, because I need them to counter Tolarian Winds. I just don't know. Like, if this resolves, like, I guess if we had double songs off the draw 6, that could theoretically win. But then we also have to find the last copy of Reaping the Graves. Opponent thinking here about whether or not they should use their Spell Stutter. We have 2 copies of songs left in the deck, 1 Reaping the Graves, so we need this draw 6 to be like songs, Reaping the Graves. Assuming that this draw 6 resolves. Maybe I should have done red-black floating, because that would leave the 4th copy of Rite of Flame as like a partial out. And we're just dead. Alright. That stunk. So we definitely want the Pyroblasts. I like Exhume, just like putting Horror of the Broken Lands into play early is really powerful. I think we can probably board out the blue cards. They might bring in Pyroblast anyway. We have to find room for 4 cards now. Just thinking out loud. If we board out Dranit's healer, we go down to 20 cyclers. Is that good enough? I think so. With Manamorphose being in the deck, I think it changes that dynamic a little bit. I think I'm going to try this. And hopefully we get to make some Pyroblast dead post-board. And leaving our opponent asking, where are their blue cards? And the answer being in our sideboard. And if you would like to support this content, you can open up the description down below and join all of our social media channels. I would highly recommend the Discord. Great Storm discussion happening there. That's where you go. We talk every format, not just Legacy, so make sure you join. Okay, game 2 and we're on the play. This seems okay. Like having Pyroblast is decent. We have a land. Like I can't mulligan this. It'd be kind of funny to put an Imposing Vantasaur into play with Exhume though. Just throwing that out there. Opponent deep in the tank on whether or not to play Island Delver or like Island Cantrip, I guess. I'm not really sure what's taking so long here. Island Cantrip wins! Okay, let's see if we can draw land 2. We cannot. I'm going to cycle Horror just in case we rip Exhume. Land 2, that was a beautiful draw. Alright, Exhume, let's go. Fairy Seer, alright. Delver. Okay, so this could be a window to try to win. So we have 3 draws here between Morphos, Vantis Horn, Stinger. I think this is our window, so I'm just going to go for it. We boarded out the blue card, so I'm free to use the blue mana to cycle. Okay. So I can at least hardcast a horror this turn if I want. I don't know how good that's going to be, but the option is there. I think it's free to add a red mana. Sort of a bummer. I'm wondering if I should Pyroblast the Delver. I think the answer is likely yes. Try to slow them down a little. Really would have loved to hit a Reaping the Graves right there. So we have to be worried about Scred at this point. But Horror of the Broken Lands is pretty threatening. So if we draw Reaping the Graves, it does represent possibly lethal if their opponent chooses not to block. Alright, they're getting in there. Okay, I think I'm going to hang on to that just in case of a Scred. And we're off to the races. There it is. Can we get our horror? So okay, so they're not blocking. Or they're not attacking, so that way they can block with this. Makes sense. I could put another Horror of the Broken Lands into play. How good is that, though? Okay, so I think I'm going to attack here. I can actually cast Street Wraith, too. That's a cool option. I think they're supposed to just chump with the fairy. Yeah, they agree. Alright, so post-combat, we'll Cabal Ritual. We're going to hard cast the Street Wraith. And bring back my other horror. Okay. So they have 4 cards in hand. I don't know if they left Screds in. Seems like a pretty free block to me. I think they were actually supposed to leave this behind. Because it just trades with one of our horrors. We're also on 1 card. That was a good draw, but we would need them to tap low to be able to get any use out of it. Like, this is a card we would have wanted to draw last turn off of this Street Wraith. Not sure what they're thinking about here. But this is what I talked about in the intro, that Horror of the Broken One is a threatening creature. And we're seeing it now, where if this was just a generic colorless cycler, we wouldn't be winning this game. Alright, so they're going to let us attack. The Monarch is mine! All hail the king. Take it. Ooh, no fear. They're attacking. Alright. So they have to have something here or else they're dead. And they drew nothing. Horror of the Broken Lands got there. Woot woot. I'm going to leave this as is. I think it was fine for game number 2. I also like the fact that because we're playing 12 lands main and they're the sack lands, we don't clog our board up. Like, I know we haven't used our entire sideboard yet, but it feels good not just having like 2 dead lands on our sideboard. Yeah. Like, I think that this configuration is actually pretty good. I look forward to playing this more post-Chatterstorm ban. Sure, this seems like a reasonable keep. And our opponent, Bola Warrior, has taken a mulligan. Okay, not Delver of Secrets. Happy to see that. Draw. So they died with 6 cards in hand. I'm guessing that all of those cards were counter spells. Um, and they're just going to play the reactive game. So we're just going to, cycle, see what we can do. Getting in there. This is always a sign of strength, by the way, if they're willing to flash in a spell stutter. It means that they have the ninja, and it looks like they have the ninja. Or their hand's so good that they don't care about losing a counter spell. So this is a hypothetical window for us, but I don't think we have the resources to try to do anything. Our best draw would honestly just be an Exhume here to put the horror into play. Dress is a fine draw. I'm going to cycle Carabid, see if we can draw anything meaningful. Well, I mean, that's a good draw, but I don't think we're supposed to try to jam here. Instead, I'm just going to play our land and cast this Duress. Try to get some info. Not the best. So we have to play through Spell Stutter. So like, okay, Fairy Seer, do we know about that? We did. So they can counter a Manamorphose now, or an Exhume. They put 2 on top of the Seer as well. We have 2 Pyroblasts that can interact with the Spell Stutter sprite. So that would be a draw that, we'd welcome here. I think I'm just going to try to hit a land. Another one of those. Rite of Flame's not bad. It's just not what we need. I think next turn we can actually plow through the Spell Stutter sprite on songs. See what they do here. Alright, so they're getting in there for 3. They're going to draw a card. See if they tap low again. Will you play Augur? No, they're just going to pass. Alright, I think I'm just going to cycle, see if we can draw something good. Take the land. More mana is always a good thing. So Brainstorm's done resolving now. Sorry, I was supposed to talk there so that way you knew it was on the stack. Hopefully you got to see it. There was a Brainstorm cast. Alright, so now they're going to use Augur. They guaranteed the hit with the Augur. So now they'll probably take the card they put on top or a better card. They have 4 mana up, so Spell Stutter plus counter spells on the menu. Hydroblast. That's kind of annoying. Yep. So they're going up to 6 cards in hand now. Hopefully they play. They didn't. I was hoping that they would play another creature there. I feel like this could be our window. Why don't I try leading on Duress, see if they'll let it resolve for info. Like, there's a chance that they Spell Stutter this. Yeah. Okay, so they're not afraid of mana, it would appear. Let's try to increase our storm a little bit more. Let's convert this blue into mana that matters. Black-red, I suppose? I would love to draw a Pyroblast or another Duress. It's not bad. So I can cycle this just to see. I was doing the math on if I cast this, it gets countered, I can double Reaping the Graves. Right was a good draw here. Will this eat the Hydroblast? No. They just don't care about my mana. Except for songs, apparently. Alright, so they're still representing Hydroblast, but they let all my Rite of Flames resolve. So it's fine, I guess. So I can go to 6 here. I'm just going to let the rest of these resolve, I think. I don't want to make any hasty decisions. And it's not like I can't cycle a bunch of this other stuff. 5 power in play. So if we cycle another Street Wraith, it's sort of an issue because then we're just dead on board. And I want to avoid cycling the Horrors because that's going to cut us off black mana. Need more mana. We know that our opponent still has a Hydroblast in hand. Cabal Ritual? Ugh. Not looking good. Think we might be dead here. It's not looking good at all. Yeah, this is going to eat the Hydroblast. Okay. Yep. And now we just play our land. And move to cleanup. Discard this extra land, I suppose. They're just a burn spell or a ninja away from killing us. I feel like this brainstorm in the main phase I'm not in love with, because if they just attacked first, maybe they had the Terramorphic previously, but you dig a card deeper with ninja. And they're just digging for the win. Counter target spell. Yeah, it's a good one. So we get a 1 now. I think we're going to need a miracle to win here. Okay. Come on. Maybe if we hit like another Songs of the Damned, we could do it. Not another Songs. Yeah, we're dead. 1 and 2. Sort of a bummer. I don't know if I did anything wrong there. You might have argued I was supposed to cycle with the triggers on the stack. I don't think that actually made a difference because you saw mana was our choke point. We never found a Cabal Ritual this entire game. We didn't find another Songs until like we were pretty deep into the deck. So the Rite of Flames did some lifting, but unfortunately not enough. We're 1 and 2. Let's see if we can get the last couple. Alright, round number 4. Let's get it. We're on the draw. We have a bunch of lands. We're going to keep this. This hand could use some cycle creatures, though. That's for sure. Elves or walls? Boggles. Okay. Or bogles, if you're English. Yeah. Granite Healer was a reasonable draw. We do need creatures, so happy to pick that up. Yep. You're going to have your Edgewalker. Let's see if we can draw into a better land than Barrenmore, or, you know, ideally more cyclers. I'll take the cycler. Sort of a cool thing with Granite Healer is part of the plan against the burn matchup is that you can cast healers off of Morphos pretty easily while still using Morphos to make combo colored mana. So that way you stay alive longer. That's a big creature. Yikes. Alright, so we're going to 12 here. We're dead to Ancestral Mask next turn. I think we're just going to stick to the plan. Cycle some creatures. Okay. Next turn is when we have to try to win. Assuming that we get to, you know, untap. Oh, here's the mask. Yep. Never mattered. Being on the play was too good. Womp womp. And we have Fallen to Bogles. I used to play Darkness in the board for this matchup and Mono White Heroic, but I haven't seen Heroic in a long time. But if this deck is ever too popular, you can definitely bring back Darkness. I think I'm actually just going to leave the deck alone. Like, they bring in, like, a copy of Dispel and sometimes, like, a Flaring Pain or something like that, but we don't really need to do anything. Darkness is also good against Elves. Maybe, like, post-ban, that's a card we could look at again. I'd need to examine the metagame a little bit more. I was thinking in between rounds about these shredded sales and how I never really use them. Like, I just never preemptively board them, and then I'll, like, see a relic, and then I'll panic board them for game 3. But I think the real answer is I just shouldn't be playing shredded sales. It's a card that makes me feel good that I never end up liking. So I think that we should probably have a third Exhume in one of those slots, and then a different card in the other, if I'm being honest with myself. Alright, opponent's taking a mulligan. Like, Exhume's just so good against the blue decks, being able to just, like, put a giant creature into play, that I don't know why I'm wasting sideboard slots on shredded sales. Alright. Elvish Scout or Glade Cover Scout, whatever it's called. Let's try to hit a land here. Wonder if we should... It's like pretty free to cast a Rite of Flame and cycle twice. Let's do that. I'm a genius. Okay, so we hit our second land. That's obviously a good draw. We could like double play Stingers over the next few turns, but I don't think that's necessarily the correct avenue. I think we likely just want to cycle trying to find Reaping the Graves. Other songs is okay, but we really want to Reaping the Graves. Okay. Interesting. So they held up like Dispel mana last turn instead of like playing something that mattered. Just pointing that out. And they're doing the same here. So they definitely have like a Dispel or a Spell Pierce or a Pyroblast or something. We're not going to play into it. Instead, we're just going to cycle, try to hit our land drops. Okay. Nothing quite yet. I do like that Morphos is better than a Lotus Petal right here, as I've mentioned before. Big fan of that. Yeah, the tell here that they have like a Dispel or whatever it's called is just like screaming at us. What color did they add here? White? Sure. See if they Dispel. Gasp! I didn't see that coming. Now we can pass the turn. I was just trying to get that card out of their hand. And it's more effective to do it this way than having them like counter our Tolarian Winds. So that's 6 damage. I think we're actually dead to Mask here. They have 1 card. Alright, so we're going to take 6. They could have another piece of interaction. It could also be a blank. There we go. Boom. So many red mana. Let's sacrifice this. We can cast Morphos off the green and a red. Black. Blue. So it might seem weird, but in case they had a Dispel, I wanted to have black up. And now what we can do, this is going to be fun. And now we cast this. So we can actually like get the best out of our Tolarian Winds this way. Doesn't matter. Sure. So if the middle one sucks, we can always just let it all go. If there's like another songs in there, we can cast it. Yeah. So let's cycle here. Free to go to 5. It's Cabal Ritual. My fear is hitting like another Reaping the Graves and having to discard Reaping the Graves, so I think I'm just gonna songs and then let this resolve because we can always just like cast Teachings. Okay, that was not bad. And now we can convert this into blue. No reason to do another blue because this is the last blue card in the deck, so let's do red, I guess. Now we can go get another songs. Good draw. So we're going to go to 3 here. Just increasing that storm count. Add red. So many graves. Upping our storm. And now we bring them all home. This should do it. By should, I mean this is definitely going to do it. I think our opponent having Dispel and just sitting on it all game did us a pretty big favor. Because I didn't really care about it. It was obvious that they had it. Those effects are usually more scary when they're not like hindering their game plan. Like our opponent should have never have held it up on turn 2. Like it was just such a big giveaway for me. And now we're just going to play all 4 copies of Draenei Stinger easily because we have this red mana left in the deck from the 4 copies of Rite of Flame I played to start this turn. I guess I played 3 this turn. We played 1 to start off the game, but whatever. Yeah, let's cycle. Auto yield to these. Auto yield to this. So another cycle here. Easy game. I love playing this deck. It's so much fun. Despite being 1 and 2, this deck's sweet. Alright, look at that. Storm 22 and coasting. Alright, let's try to get game number 3 from the opponent. Look at that. That is a beautiful sight. 4 Dranet Stingers in play, no lands, lethal. Whew. Love it. Once again, just going to hit submit. I don't think we need a board in anything. Like, our plan for beating Dispel and all those other cards is just power through. No cyclers once again. I think I'm supposed to keep this, though. Opponent taking a mulligan. I really do mean this. I'm not just saying it because I'm playing it in the video. The Manamorphoses have been nice over Petal, I think. Just like the additional draws have been really smooth. Alright, so Silver Vent and pass. Alright, and the opponent's coming out of the gate here, which is kind of scary. They have 2 cards left. Alright. So we're taking 2, going to 18. We need to draw some cyclers. And by that I mean creatures. Getting a little bit hairy. There's 1. So they have 4 coming in. Alright. I mean, I'm fine with this start. Come on, let's find another creature here. There we go. It'd probably be better if I did that, if I cycled on their end step, because then it plays around graveyard hate, but I'm being lazy. Forgive me. So another creature. How much damage is this? So they have 3, 6 damage. So if they draw the 1 white mana enchantment, I'm dead. Or if they draw land 3 for the card that's been stuck in their hand, which is probably Ancestral Mask, I'm dead. So I think maybe we want to try to go for it here. And I love the Drannith Healer draw. So let's see what we can do. I think it's free to start on Rite of Flame. Do you think there's any possible chance that it's like a Mana Tithe? Just a thought that ran through my head is, it in theory could be like a Mana Tithe with that pause. Let's cycle Horror. Another Songs. It's a little bit awkward. Let's see if we can hit a creature here. Okay, how many creatures? We only have 4. So the first Reaping the Graves. Keep my black mana open, I think. We don't need to do any cycling tricks. We can just let this resolve. Tolarian Winds. Okay, so that gives us some flexibility here. The last copy of Songs. That's a little bit awkward. We really need more mana late, not early. Alright, I think I'm going to use the black mana here. Okay. Don't mind drawing another creature. Another Winds. Alright, I'm going to cycle this, trying to hit another creature. It's a little bit risky, because we don't have any more Songs left in our deck. So I think at this point, we're really going to be leaning on Cabal Rituals and Rite of Flame. Okay, so cast Tolarian Winds. Now Reaping the Graves. Let's go. Rite of Flame can do a lot of lifting, because it is 11 red if we cast all of them. Well, I guess it's going to be 10 red because there's 1 Rite of Flame already in the graveyard. Cabal Ritual, like, it's possible. That's all I'm trying to say here. Is we can win without Songs. Rite of Flame helps out a little bit, so it's better than Dark Ritual in that aspect. But we're not likely going to be able to use the flashback on this teachings whatsoever. 1 right. Let's cycle these, I suppose. Yeah. Let's go. Go to 1 and cycle this Street Wraith. I'm dead to like a gut shot. I don't think it matters. But we are getting kind of far into our deck teachings. We can't really use that. Cabalrit's a good pickup. I think we might have not drawn our I don't know if we're going to be able to get this. All 4 of our stingers are in the graveyard, so we have to be able to cast those and Reaping the Graves. So we have to find Reaping the Graves and cast all those creatures. I don't think I'm allowed to play this Teachings. It's just so much mana. Okay. Jeez. Is that the last Rite of Flame? No, we have one more right. Okay. 7 cards left in deck. Are we going to fizzle instead? I guess so. 4 cards. So this lonely Baron Moor needs to hit exactly Reaping the Graves here. Okay. I don't know if we're even able to win here, but I guess we're going to go for it. We have so much Storm we can just target everything. I don't think we're going to be able to get this, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so it takes 8 mana to play all 4 copies of Draenei Stingers, and then we would need to cycle 5 times. So 13 mana. We currently have 11. So I think there might be one more copy of Cabal Ritual in the deck. I'm going to need to count. There's only 2 cards. But let's figure this out. 1 copy of Cabal Ritual, 2 copies of Cabal Ritual, 3 copies, 4 copies, all 4 rights. I don't think there's any mana in the deck. So if we play 3 copies of Draenei Stinger, does that change anything? I don't think it does. So yeah. I just don't think we have any more mana in the deck. I think we're just flat dead here because I can't cycle the Street Wraiths. So I can deal 12 damage here. Yeah, I think we just lost. I don't know why I auto-yielded to that. Alright, let's see what our last draw would be. It's not Rite of Flame, so I'm going to leave the black. Oh, it's the other copy of Reaping the Graves. I should have known that there was only 2 left, actually, because I felt like it took me a long time to find another. Yeah. So we're just going to unfortunately lose this one. Oh, did I auto-yield? Or I clicked OK, maybe. But we couldn't win anyway. So we're now 1-3. Feels bad. I think this list is actually pretty good, but we're 1-3. Sometimes you just don't win. Let's try to get match number 5, get that pity 50 play points back. Alright, so let's be perfectly honest. I really don't want to 1-4 this league. So let's try to win this one. We're on the play, which is a good sign. And this seems like a reasonable keep. I like this. Okay. Crevice coming up. Past the turn. Elves! Okay, I like my elves matchup. See if we can get a land here. I think I'm fine with burning the Rite of Flame. Aw, should have just cycled. Punished. I think, honestly, it is right to cast the Rite of Flame there, just because it's sort of low impact, and hitting the second land is just so crucial. Okay. I think this is just a setup turn, so we're going to cycle, and then cycle the Vantasaur. Love the 3rd land. Let's find another ritual. Barremore's okay. What are they going to do here? Well-Wisher? Sure. No other plays, really. Oh, or they're just going to untap Sentinel post-combat. That makes more sense. Okay. What is this? Alright, lead the Stampede. They hit all 5. That's pretty good. They're going to have a very high storm count this turn. Let's see if we can do the same. Alright, I like drawing the Street Wraith. That's pretty good. Okay, we're going places. Let's do it. Sacrifice these lands. And it's pretty free to start on Cabal Rit. This only cycling for 5 kind of stinks. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit further. Okay, I'm going to keep that in hand because that's a card we can discard 2 Tolarian Winds. We can add red here, why not? Another Reaping the Graves, that's interesting. Wonder what we're supposed to do then. Storm's only 2. So I think maybe I'm supposed to... This is a tough spot. So Street Wraith... It just doesn't seem worth it otherwise. See if we can just cycle into some better stuff. More mana, please. Mana, let's go. Give me your mana. Alright, so I think a real question here is how many creatures do we have in the graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I Tolarian Winds and then cast this, we'd have 1 mana floating. So the scary part about this line is that we have to leave red up. So we have to hit exactly Rite of Flame and Manamorphose to make black mana because you can't just go Lotus Petal whatever. That's not an option here. I also sort of wonder if there should be like 1 swamp in the deck because it is an untapped land. Maybe over like the 4th crevice. It's just an idea. But for now, let's focus on trying to win this. I think we do have to take the line that I described. And there's no point in cycling Street Wraith because if we accidentally hit a Rite of Flame, yikes. But or like one of the 2 remaining Reaping the Graves, that could be bad. Or songs. Yeah, we should not cycle Street Wraith here. It's just super risky. Oh no. We didn't hit. So we have 3 Rite of Flame still in the deck and we have 1 cycle. Well, they probably can't deal 10. That is 1 bonus. So we're probably not dead, which means we can try to win next turn assuming that the Street Wraith misses. But if it hits, we're going to win. It's just we only have 3 hits here. Alright, and it did not. So we should just play this and pass the turn. Honestly, that was like, if we were going to miss, this is a pretty good one. We can discard those 2 and the cycler, I guess. Alright, so they have to deal 10 damage this turn. I don't know how Elves deals more than the damage they have on board without haste, so I think that the most they can deal here is 7. Alright, another Lead the Stampede. So Timberwatch doesn't have haste. I don't care about Essence Warden. This is the one that just makes elves, yeah. So our opponent's going to cast a bunch of elf creatures this turn, but ultimately it doesn't matter because they can't deal us lethal. I guess sort of what could be an issue, and this is actually a real issue, is Essence Warden paired with Well-Wisher. They can get up to a life total where I can't make enough mana to cycle enough creatures to kill them with Drana Stingers. That's a real concern, for sure. I won't pretend that's not one. So this Well-Wisher is going to gain a buttload of life, but I think we're sort of fortunate that they don't have Quirion Ranger to be able to activate Well-Wisher twice. They still have 4 cards in hand. Another Well-Wisher, okay. What else? Another lead. Ugh. So their hand was just double Lead the Stampede after last turn? And they hit the Quirion Ranger. That's kind of stinky for us. Because that means they can double Well-Wisher on their turn and then activate it on our turn. So that's a lot of life. I don't know if I'll be able to get this now. They're just casting more and more elves. And here's another Well-Wisher. Yeah, I don't know if I can make this much mana. I mean, we're going to try to win. I just don't know if it's going to be possible. Just casting more and more elves. Yep, Quirion Ranger resolves. Alright, they're finally Hellbent. So, wow. That's insane. Oh, wow. So they can use Wellwisher again, and then Wellwisher uh, twice on their... Or I guess they don't have to do it now, but I don't think we're going to be able to get this. I'm not going to count all their creatures, but I just don't think we're going to be able to. Barrenmore? Sure. So we have to start on the first songs, and then we can Morphose. And this one can make red. Okay, cycle. We need to get as much mana out of these songs as we can. That's the first step. I think it's probably pretty safe to add a blue. Cycle this. I just don't think I'm going to be able to deal like the 100 damage that we need to do. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Alright, more cyclers. Nope. In theory, I could flashback teachings. I just don't know if that's worth it. One song. So it looks like... Nope, the other songs is there. Yeah. I just don't think I'm going to be able to do enough. Okay. Start from the top, I guess. Opposing Vantasaur. Let's do Street Wraiths. Stingers. Another Street Wraith. Horror. I don't think it matters. Okay. So there's 16 cards left in our deck. We don't have any more songs. I think I'm just like wasting my clock, unfortunately. Alright, let's not burn mana, I guess. Alright. So we're going to go to 2. 13 cards left. Can't cycle that. Don't know if I'd want to spend the mana to cast Tolarian Winds. We just need more mana, and I don't think there's enough of it in the deck. Like, I'm not worried about Storm Count at this point. I think given infinite mana, we can make enough cyclers to win this. But the Wellwisher is just gaining way too much life. And if we had drawn the 4th Stinger earlier on in this chain, maybe we stood a shot. Down to 7 cards in deck. And they can always just respond to us casting Reaping the Graves and gaining all the life. Because we could, in theory, try to kill them with Wellwisher on the stack. Do we have another Reaping the Graves? 1, 2, 3. So this is the last one. Alright. So this brings us down to 2 cards in deck. So in our last 2, it has one of the Draniths in it. Alright, so I'm not going to need the blue mana. Don't want to click on Street Wraiths because I can't actually use them. So they should probably use the Wellwisher. Because they're just giving me a chance to kill them. Yeah, I think our opponent might have messed up. I'm going to turn off auto yields here because I can't remember which creature I auto yielded the draw to, but I really don't want to die to that auto yield. Alright, so our bottom card was the 4th Dranith. Okay, so let's cast this. I think we got this. You can have 1 life, that's fine. Yeah, I think our opponent messed up. Because they probably should have used Wellwisher in response to the Reaping the Graves, and now we're going to kill them with Wellwisher on the stack. Wow, I can't believe we're going to win this. I thought I was dead as a duck. Okay, cycle. Nope. Sorry, you messed up. Now you gotta pay the price. This is a learning experience. That's right, I win. Woo woo! Get lucky because your opponent misplays. I'll take it. All right. I don't think I'm going to board. I'm just going to resubmit. Yeah, I definitely want to make some adjustments. I don't love the shredded sales. And unfortunately, we just didn't face burn, so these cards never mattered. But I don't hate the idea of darkness. That's a card I do like. Because it allows you to live till turn 4 or whatever. This is fine. We'll keep this. I have noticed tonight I've had less mulligans due to the extra land in the deck, by the way, which has been kind of nice. Like, there hasn't been a game that we just, like, mulligan into oblivion and died. We did have that one game where we fizzled because all of our good cards are in the bottom, like 5 cards of our deck. But sometimes that just happens with a deck like this. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much over that. Let's just cycle here, see if we can draw into another sulfur vent. It's free to cycle this. Boom. Like, cycling Street Wraith there versus next turn, I'd rather cycle now to try to hit the crevice or sulfur vent. Another Well-Wisher. Get in there. Okay, let's cycle again. We're hunting for Reaping the Graves. Boom! Hunt complete. Let's all go home. Okay. I'm liking this. Alright, 2 cards in our opponent's hand. This to me looks like they might have had like some of their sideboard cards like Dispel, but they never hit the I forget what it's called. It's the creature that's like a poor person's Heritage Druid, but it taps for any color. Birchlore Rangers. So like Birchlore Rangers would allow them to cast a spell or whatever. Alright, so I need one more card to be able to cycle or cast Cabal Ritual effectively. This is 6, so I think I'm going to cycle off green. And that's the 7th. Another Reaping's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Let's cast Morphose. This room's only 4. Cycle, cycle. Just making the songs better, ripping through more of our deck. I like that pickup. I think I'm going to add another blue in case I draw like a Mystical Teachings. Okay. Womp womp. End of the line. I think we have enough mana to do a bunch of this stuff. And our opponents just had enough and conceded. Okay. So we got the Pity 2-3 chest. 1 game, 1 match 5 out of a technicality, sort of. But I liked this main deck quite a bit. I'm actually going to play this again. Maybe in a few weeks. Hopefully by then Chatterstorm will no longer be in the format. As much as I love doing Degenerate Storm combo, it's probably not best for the health of Pauper. But this main deck felt really good. Also, I guess it's not quad laser. It's almost quad laser. If you count the blue cards as 1 card, it is. And then in the board, I think I'd rather see at least 3rd Exhume. And I don't know. After that, it's up to you. Maybe if the metagame shifts back to damage base. Actually, I should have played what is it called? Darkness to Night. I don't know why I didn't think of that. It wins the mirror, the Chatterstorm mirror. So let's add some Darkness to the sideboard. I think it is the right time to be playing that. So maybe you cut the Weathers or you cut the Ploys for the Darkness. I don't know why I keep on forgetting that name. I'm getting old. So minus 1 of these, minus those, plus 3 Darkness, plus 1 Exhume, call it a day. Maybe that's fine. That's what I've got. But I'm pretty confident that I like the Rite of Flame Morpho swap. That seemed worth it to me. It definitely felt like I was fizzling less. We did have the 1 game where I fizzled, but I don't really think that's a fault of this change. I think I probably would have fizzled with the other list as well. Let me know what you thought. I understand that 2-3 isn't the best result, but also I don't put a whole lot of stock into 1 league playing a deck. If you watched this far, thank you. I appreciate your support, all that good stuff. Take care, keep storming, have a great day. Hey, Brian Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.